So why don't we go ahead and get started? I did want to make sure we hit the infrastructure, so let's start with that, and then we can adjust the timing of the agenda depending on what other urgent issues we have. So I've added a new bullet to the top. We currently have a collection of Amazon images, instances of them that we use for various tests. They are completely opaque to us. They were created by GS Labs some time ago. There's actually a lot of them, and nobody knows quite what the difference between them is. We found a couple that are working for the current tests, but I've asked Eric to regenerate an instance for us for 2204, and we will need to also do 2404 Ubuntu and start doing tests there. Eric, do you have any questions about that? I tried to put everything I knew in the ticket, but it may have been confusing.
No, I don't think I have any questions. This should be pretty straightforward, and they will be generated with code so that everything is documented in terms of what's going on there, so that they're
Perfect.
not so opaque the next
They
time
are,
we need to go back and review them.
yeah, good. Thank you very much.
Hmm.
I don't, they could be causing us problems. We have all kinds of flakiness on Jenkins, and DAF was trying to debug that a long time ago, and it was really hard going because we couldn't get anything consistent out of them. So that's good. The other two issues are kind of related that have been on the back burner, just looking for an update on. There's both consolidating GitHub actions so that all the repos share actions, but also more specifically, we don't, I believe, yet have complete GitHub actions for publishing rock.
Yeah, so Rock is in progress right now. And that is also going to be the first of the shared workflow actions. So that's kind of it's kind of both in progress.
Good.
And I had to take a break from this to work on a Volta release for broadband, but that is active right now, and I'm pretty close to getting the Helm release in a place where we can test it and make sure everything works and hopefully get that settled.
Good. Thank you.
Hmm.
So something is messed up on my, uh, sorry, thanks for that. That's good to hear. I think that's the right approach. Um, I am not able to edit the agenda, and I'm not seeing anybody else's edits, so something funky is going on. Has anybody else edited the meeting notes? Maybe not, but I'm for some reason unable to edit myself. I don't understand what's going on. So on the other agenda items, as near as I can see on the agenda, there are no actions, or there are no items, with the exception of one that I had put on there for on-ramp, which is just an update that we now have updated, improved, and more reliable SRS ran and UE ran sim configurations and tests. Has anything else been added to the agenda? Something is weird on my end.
I'm typing right now, but I don't see on your end that
Yeah,
it's being reflected. So I'm typing right now. So
um, could somebody else maybe share this screen? For some reason, I'm not seeing updates to it, and like I said, I'm unable to update it myself.
um,
Well, let me see if this reload works. No. Oh, now I see it. Nope, I'm sorry, no, I don't see it.
That is what the update that I put in our wrap, right below the SRS one and you run sync prints. Did you click on the edit?
Yeah,
button?
I was in edit and that didn't seem to,
Now you're on edit.
well, I was before too, and it didn't.
Try to type now.
All right, so you've added the OAI blueprint note.
Yes.
All right, maybe things are cleared up. Is there anything to report in SD core?
Regular maintenance of core, over the weekend, dependable open like more than 80 PRs. So I've been trying to finalize testing and merging all of them. I am in the last batch now at the moment, which are not like around 20 PRs left. So that's what I'm kind of like working on right now. The other part, 3GPP release upgrade, that is kind of keep moving forward, but a little bit slow, but moving forward. So now I created a APIs and models for all of LPIs and models that we are using in the SD core. So for release 18. I am trying to address the issue with the callbacks. For some reason, OpenAPI generator is not kind of generating the code for those. So that's what I'm trying. I need to still address, but it's gonna take a little bit more time. Okay? It's not like a priority task anymore.
Okay. Thanks. I don't see anyone to report on SD-RAN. I'm not going to edit because something is just not working on editing for me. But if anyone else edits, it should show up here. And I'll just continue to share my screen as opposed to someone else's. So you've got the on-red update. There's still a need to update the OAI blueprint in progress.
Yeah, so the OAI blueprint is working in simulation, but in a single machine. But as I reported to you, when I try to deploy in two separate machines, SD core in one machine and OAI in another machine, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the second part, which is the most relevant, if somebody wants to use this with the OAI blueprint with USRPs, is not going to work. So that's something that I need to kind of modify. We need to modify and fix to make it work.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, in terms of testing, just FYI, I pruned back. Well, first of all, I can't test in Jenkins with hardware other than the servers I get from Amazon. So we need to continue to do hardware tests separately for the time being until we figure something else out. In terms of 2 nodes on the simulation with OAI, I just had backed off testing that one. So it's possible there's been a regression there. I was pruning back to what I thought was the essential. I must have missed something. Okay, ARA, I see there's a note on the SD-RAN preparing the blueprint. Is there anything to say about that or anything else?
Yeah, so the CTE. So actually, we are still like spending some time for our like rig comparison and like X-type development. So I decided to like give some short-term goal. So I think the first one for us is like before next meeting, I will get the blueprint of like the SD-RAN error blueprint ready for review. And also after that, I will also try to think about the best way to make SD-RAN available on error for like other users to use it.
That would be great to have. The current SD-RAN blueprint we have is actually quite minimal. So incorporating anything else into it in terms of the combination of a radio and the core would be great to see. I'm not sure what you're planning there, but that combination has not really been, it's not part of the SD-RAN blueprint yet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Understand.
So
Yeah,
even
I will.
even with vanilla X apps, it's still a very welcome contribution.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean for X app, we still need some time because like, yeah, it's really like some roadmap for us to decide like what would be the best direction we should work on. But yeah, I mean right now we can bring some like more short term contribution like make the blueprint ready and also start to make SD-RAN available on our testbed for other users.
That would be
Yeah.
great. Thank you very much. Thanks for reporting that too.
Yeah, and for SD core side, Joshua said there is no update on SD core. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we've made it through what I suspected was going to be a very thin agenda. Mayor, if you are ready, is there anything else that we've missed that anyone wants to raise right now? What I thought I'd do is turn it over to hear about the Monogoto work and their use of Ether. I'm guessing maybe about 15 minutes, and we'll let him do his a presentation just to give us the background, and then we can have an open question answer period, if that's okay with everyone. So I will stop sharing and let you take the screen, or whoever's going to present.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good to meet you all. Thank you for having me. I'm not going to do full screen because I want to jump between a demo, our website, and the presentation. So I hope you can see my screen well. Can you see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Mo. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Monogoto. I'm based in California. I will give you a little bit of background of our company, where we come from, and what are we doing with Ether specifically. So I like that you guys are using also the software defined as a statement, and we are, let's say, trying to evolve from machine to machine, IoT, MVNO to the world software defined connectivity. So I'm with more than 30 years experience in telco and infrastructure, building networks, the last 15 years building cellular networks. And when I started Monogoto with my partner Itamar, we understood that if the first revolution was a cloud compute revolution, where AWS showed us how we can change from buying servers to consuming cloud compute, and then companies like Twilio and CPaaS created what we call the CPaaS revolution, where the old IPPBXs and the old way of consuming telephony switched to over the top and APIs and voice over IP. So we think that we are getting into a new era, an era of software-defined connectivity. So the devices of the future needs different type of services. Sometimes they need public network, sometimes they need private network, sometimes they will need satellite network. For different life cycles, they might need different quality of service. When the car will be on the private, the car might need a high throughput, low latency. When the car will be on satellite, maybe just a resilient network that can SOS to the back office. So with that understanding, we are pushing hard on software defined, and we are also pushing hard on what we call cloud best practice. We want to, according to any cloud best practice, we want to lower the barrier. We want to lower the barrier of entry of, let's say, deploying private network in terms of skills. We want to lower the barriers in terms of time and lower the barriers in terms of money. And like any other cloud offering, this is our religions. We are not here to invent technology. We just want to make it more accessible. We are a Series A company. The last round was led by Toyota Ventures. We have some strategic partner investors like Samsung, Telefonica, Singtel. So we are trying to mix traditional VCs, telco VCs, and enterprise to justify our story. Our story is not just private network. Our story is the connectivity cloud. The bread and butter today, and I guess until private network will start to catch up, will be also in the next few years. The bread and butter is our roaming with the operators. So we are roaming on 180 countries, and we can give resilient connectivity. Most of our customers will be connected cars, automotives, smart cities, sensor, telematics, etc. A year and a half ago, we signed roaming agreement with a satellite company called Skylo. So our devices, if it's 3GPP release 17, can also roam on a satellite. And we are very heavy, and we see a big promise of offloading some use cases to private network, or we see a big promise in companies that want to deploy private networks, but with less capex, less expertise, less time, and this is where we push the edge, which is based on Aether and connectivity to our cloud to offer a seamless communication. So that's the way we operate. We are big believer in private network. I think that CBRS and other bands that are becoming available for enterprise to use will allow anything from public sector all the way to the private sector to deploy a private network for specific use case. It can be a connected bus that getting to the depot and uploading all the images on a private network, or it can be, and this is all stories that we have, or it can be a company that are doing low power WAN sensors and have some areas without any coverage, and they want to add private LTE, and we are doing it on the 900 megahertz. So the way that we are working on private network is we have an edge component. The edge can sit in the cloud or locally, depending the breakout for the data that the customer wants to deploy. The edge is based on the open source. The edge can work with any radio, 4G or 5G, create a bubble of a private network, and then our SIM cards can even roam between the public and the private network with data breakout that will go directly from the private network. I don't know, if you don't mind, guys, I would love to stop for questions, and then I will continue to deep dive. It's okay?
Sure, if there are any questions now. I'm kind of guessing we're anxious to see the demos.
Okay, so if no questions, as I said, also from my history, we are big believer in open source. I was in the previous company doing API for telephony API. I saw how open source like Asterix get huge momentum by companies like FreePBX that add element of UI and management. We are not here, as I said, to reinvent technology. We want to focus more in an easier way to manage the devices, easier way to consume the private network. So for example, on the 4G, we added in the last 2 years, thanks to a great effort from GS Lab, we are working closely with them. We added some features that we needed desperately to make private network on our side seamlessly or more consumable. The first feature that was important to us is to add support for CAT-M and NB-IoT. The availability of devices with Band 8 is much more than devices without. So we partner with radio companies that are doing 900 megahertz radio. For 50 megahertz radio, we are also member in the 450 megahertz alliance. And now we have a proposition for Monogoto for utility companies or for smart cities or other companies that are doing legacy devices to roam on private networks using Band 8 or using 450 megahertz on CAT-M and NB-IoT. Another feature that was important for us to add is mobility, seamless mobility. We wanted to make sure that iPhone will work seamlessly, Android will work seamlessly, eSIM will work seamlessly. This is all features that our team is working hard to perfect, so we can get to a situation that customers can download an eSIM, jump into any private network, and I will show you the features that the radios that we support. We focus a lot in API and self-service. So I'm a big believer in API, then I'm a big believer API first, and I'm a big believer in self-service. less friction, customers will use it more. So literally, most of our job was to add APIs, to add self-service capabilities in Monogoto Hub for the private networks. That's also include documentation. Focus on IP addressing, deciding what IP each device will get, controlling the APNs, creating a quality of service software so customers can receive certainty on the SLA is getting from the network, can measure the speed, can measure the latency. And of course, our legacy platform, which is managing IoT devices, we want to extend it to the private network. So maybe I will show a quick demo. By the way, before the demo, we are very open in our documentation. So if anyone will go to docs.monogoto.io, docs.monogoto.io, under the section private network, we have explanation on the edge and what we did around the edge. We have, you can see here the quality of service feature that we developed, the logging capability, because we needed to add CDR, we needed to add billing, we needed to add some more capabilities to make it work seamlessly with our platform. And it's all the way to even self-service of installing an edge with the private network and sit in the Monogoto platform. I can show you some examples. This is a customer that we have that is using private networking in RV parks. I can go into an edge, and on each edge I will get the what we call big numbers of statistics of the current status. It's a little bit slow. That's what we call the demo effect, but you can see like big numbers that I'm getting for the edge. Then, of course, visibility is everything with API, what is up, what is not up, what's working, what's not working, including the ability for me to see active IMSI that are now alive, what is the IP, what is the data usage, like really focus in giving the customers all the capabilities to see the behavior of the network, to see what's going on in the network. You can see top speed receiving traffic, top speed transmitting traffic. We can measure the latency, we can measure the packet loss, really giving the customers APIs and self-service to utilize the edge. Active IMSI, connected radios, and everything based on APIs, everything based on self-service. In terms of radios that we support, you can see here, if we go to the eNode Bs, these are all the radios that we are already pre-integrate to our platform. Some of them even APIs from the radio going to our cloud to see the status that is coming from the radio, not only from the edge. This is, for example, the 900 megahertz unlicensed band that we are able to operate 3GPP band 8 radio. This is partnership that we have with a company called Ubik. So very much focus in integration and self-service. So the UE will connect seamlessly, and also the eNode B. Any questions?
Yeah, quick question. There in the prerequisites, it says that you guys have your own SIM cards.
Yes, we are a service provider, so we operate our own network. We are providing the SIM card, but of course, because of the flexibility that we have, I have an API to upload a KI and OPC and IMSI from another vendor. So we have situation that customers come with existing SIM cards and wants to move to Monogoto Cloud, and we will upload their SIM card. We have other situation that you want to just take SIM cards from us, maybe with public connectivity, and then we will give you the KI and OPC to upload it in your own EPC.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So we are a building blocks company. Companies can use it just for Bootstrap. Companies can use it just for public connectivity. Companies can use it just for private, or we can do public, private, and even satellite on a single use case.
Thanks. Cool.
Any other question?
So I have a question. I was on mute.
Yeah.
So your picture is 4G. Could you speak to 4G versus 5G, where you are in that? transition?
Yeah, and I will do full transparency. We are working with Ether and 5GS. On 5G, at the moment, we have more progress with the 5GS core and not with Ether, but this is something that we definitely want to close the gap. So at the moment, we are more mature with the 4G of Ether and with the 5G of Open 5GS.
Thanks.
And what are the gaps that you see from your perspective between Ether and Open5GS?
We don't see really technical gaps. It's just prioritizing. We had a customer that wanted us to start with Open5GS on a specific project, so we make it work, and others that we start, like GS Labs wanted to use you guys on when we started, so we use Ether. And now we just, and I had some strategy discussion with you guys offline. Of course, I want to get closer to you and to use the 5G from Ether also.
Thanks.
I want to get to a situation that a company can deploy the 4G or 5G, immediately see it in the GUI here of Monogoto, immediately able to manage it in a self-service way. We are very happy to give free services for developers. We are very happy to give free services for educational. If something become production, we are not going to charge like other companies that are charging per a project. We will be a service company, so the money that we will take will be per active SIM card or per active edge per month. This is our cloud approach. But as a company that want to support open source, we are very happy to get to a situation that the open source is plug and play to our cloud and just give it for free for non-commercial use cases. Any question?
For the Ether 4G, you're able to get all the information that you need on the cloud with the existing APIs, or are you looking for more?
We did much more. I can show you some of the APIs that we developed. So if you go to our core, Node B, where is it? I think it's here. So that's all the API that we added. So for example, API to configure the PLMN, API to get the PLMN, API to configure the IP, APN, API to get the APN. So ping, iPref, speed test. So we are adding more and more, and everything that we are adding is with our understanding of how customers will consume it. Customer wants to make sure, for example, yesterday we deployed a private network for companies that are doing remote video management, PaaS, and they needed to test speed. So we have an API for that. And instead of asking the customers to connect a computer and test speed, we used one API. We test speed to the cloud, we test speed to the device, and we can detect where the gap was or where the problem was. This is another popular API that we added, capture, so customer can download a pickup and immediately look at the traffic and see what's going on.
So you have like a version of the Ether code and you've enhanced that to handle these APIs. And
okay, so I'm a little bit high level for that, but we can talk with him. I'm not sure if we have Moti, our product manager, here, but we might need GS Lab to advise on the exact fork that we did.
okay.
Moti, do you know the version, or we need?
No, I know. We need a link for that.
But yeah, we can absolutely follow up with a specific answer on that.
All right.
But our best hope is that you guys like what we do and want to fork it together with us. Maybe we can do some PR around it. Maybe we can do it in MWC. We are going to be there. And we want to promote usage in the core. And we believe in CBRS, and we think the timing is starting to be valid.
It makes sense.
So Mayor, maybe I can mention, so Mayor and I've met, I think, twice or three times in the last couple of months, kind of talking about this a little bit. And, you know, from my point of view, let me see if I get this right. Correct me if I get anything off or add, but, you know, I think there are maybe 3 or 4 different ways I can envision collaborating. And the first might be you have a number of core enhancements you've mentioned today that you might be willing to open source. You know, GS Lab would probably be you know, the feet on the ground doing that, but that includes billing, QoS, the APIs, and you also have you know, kind of some dashboard related work.
Correct.
And
Correct.
so, you know, so I don't know if all of that are open source candidates or what.
Yeah,
but
everything is open source candidate. Let's say whatever is connected to Monogoto dashboard, it's less open source because it's API that go to Monogoto, but the API will be open source, so no problem if somebody want to take the API and connect it to another backend.
Right. Okay, good. So so that's kind of category 1, I think, you know. Category 2 is that you know, SIM cards are a real pain, and you have the infrastructure to burn SIM cards. And we talked about just providing a service to, you know, if anybody is trying to bring up Ether and needs just a, you know, a small handful, a dozen SIM cards, that you could be just a provider of SIM cards in a way, and that those SIM cards would work in a localized edge with Ether, but then might also be able to seamlessly connect to your core.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And we can have a promotion with the community that we will give free SIM cards for Ether projects. And for me, it's again, we create an ecosystem.
Right. And so
and it's not only physical, it's also eSIM.
Right. Yeah, very good. So then number 3 is that you've created an ecosystem with 900 megahertz connectivity, which is you know, low bandwidth, low cost, long range connectivity, for, you know, particularly suited for outdoor. And it's also
LoRa replacement, I call it.
right, and it's unlicensed. And so we could create an Ether blueprint that works with the 5G radio, you know, or the 900 megahertz radios that you kind of worked on, and so it would be easy for end users to turn up 900 megahertz solutions and get going in those environments.
Absolutely.
And then the fourth is maybe a little bit less clear in my memory here, but you know, you've created a downloadable edge for somebody to get started to kind of connect to your core. I don't know if there are elements of what you have, and Ether blueprints are effectively that today, a downloadable, easy to bring up edge. And so it would be maybe bringing enhancements to the Ether blueprints or finding some ways to collaborate so that somebody that does bring up Ether, should they desire having global connectivity or connecting to your services, that there's sort of an easy point and click way for them to expand beyond the edge and start to work with you. And that's kind of, you know, it's a commercial on-ramp opportunity for you.
So we don't have downloadable edge. So what you're saying makes perfectly sense if we can have in Ether blueprint a Monogoto version of the edge to download, and then seamlessly this version will connect to our cloud for easy management.
Right. Okay, so that's basically a new
blueprint. I love it.
It's kind of Monogoto ready, so that it's easy to connect to your service, right?
Yeah, and then I don't need to ship hardware, and I will only ship SIM cards or eSIM for this instance. We can even have this instance pre-configured with, let's say, a handful of keys of QR codes, so people can immediately take an Android or iPhone and connect it to the private network.
Right. Okay, so those are the things, you know, that's kind of my list. Is there anything I missed? Or
and maybe some PR together or some announcement. We will want to join to the Linux Foundation, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to exchange logos and we want to declare this partnership. Right.
Yeah, that's kind of the wrapper in any of these, I think, you know, so I get that for sure. And that's kind of I don't know if a given, but so So good. Any from the community here, any feedback, thoughts, other things we should consider, or pros, cons? Or another way to think of it is next steps. You know, if you wanted to say, look at the APIs and think about, you know, bringing those in, open sourcing them.
Yeah,
or
we
the-
can arrange a call with GS Lab and our technical team and drill down, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Popping back a couple items. I like the blueprint that is Motogo ready and can then connect to the what you have. That sounds to me like it's very consistent with your roaming focus. Could you say just a little bit more about how that works?
Yes. So when we burn a SIM card, we can put a IMSI of a private network. Let's say we got an IMSI range in the US 315.010, or we can put an IMSI of one of our roaming partners. When we put an IMSI of one of our roaming partners, we can configure the private network as the home PLMN or equivalent home PLMN. So if I'm, for example, in the US, we are partnered with US Cellular, so I can send you a SIM card with a US Cellular IMSI, but on the SIM card, we will have a preferred network, which is home network of the private network. So the SIM will prefer the private network, but if the private network will be out of range, the SIM will connect to the public network.
So let me try saying that back with a few Ether words mixed in. So you could have a private deployment. Now speaking in terms of blueprint, you could have an Ether blueprint that, as long as you were on site running the Ether core, and let's move ahead and call it the 5G core just for the sake of argument. I could connect using that core, and if I'm ever not local, then I'm connecting. I would have connectivity to the partner, the roaming partner.
Yes.
And everything else, arguably, is, as long as I'm on site, is on-prem.
Yes, we can even
Just
do
like Ether looks like today.
correct. So we can even backhaul the data from the public to come on site also. So the data from the publics can potentially come back to the edge and get the GI from the same edge.
Nice. That would be awesome to demonstrate.
Easy. And we have on the call here, Moti is our best engineer to demo literally everything that we spoke about today. Also, we invest a lot in mobility. That's something also that might be important to the community. So if you have few radios, the moving between them, we have worked hard to make it perfect.
So what radio were you mentioning before? You had a radio partner?
So we have interop with Nokia, Samsung, Mosolab, Bicel.
Mosolab is the one that we're already using. So
we love Mosolab. Yeah, Mosolab is the most friendly from today. Bicel and Airspan and Telran.
I mean, the fact that your Mosolab is on your list and easiest for you today, it's what we have demonstrated.
Yeah, Mosolab is the most friendly radio. Also, it's Taiwanese, so we are really good partners there.
Yeah, one of our biggest obstacles there is actually the SIM cards. So that would be and working handsets, but
yeah. So this is exactly where Moti put most of his effort: SIM cards, working handset, interoperability, and of course mobility also.
Yeah, that's what, I don't know about everybody else. That would be really awesome to demonstrate.
Can you expand a little more on eSIMs, on the eSIMs that you guys have?
Yeah, we work with
Right.
multiple SIM vendors because the way that we operate is very horizontal. On the eSIM, we have a few types of eSIM. We have a consumer eSIM, so you can get a QR code. We can also support EID push. So we have a platform that you can put an EID on a phone, and if the phone is on connectivity, you can push, but that's less common. The more common use case is that you get a QR code, you scan it on iPhone or Android or any device that is unlocked, and you can get it. So that's on the eSIM, on the consumer eSIM side. On the more advanced capability that we already have, we have an IoT eSIM, so SGP32 or SGP22. So we can also support that, and that's a pull from an IoT device. This is very popular now in car to download a different profile.
And this IOSIM commercial kind of version, is that again, comes from an open source initiative, or is some kind of proprietary solution?
No, it's a 3GPP standard, and it's coming from companies that are selling SIM cards. So we are with partnership with G&D, we are partnership with Keegan, we are partnership with Works. So we have, and another one, with T-Mobile. So we have 4 companies that we can source eSIM from.
Oh, okay, but it's not like it comes from an open source initiative itself.
No, it's you need to be 3GPP compliant. So this is a different game.
But there are two different things, right? So one thing is to be 3GPP compliant, which, for example, Ether is a 3GPP compliant, but it still is an open source source code. And that's kind of what I'm trying to ask in this case. So the eSIM solution is a proprietary solution, or is an open source solution that, of course,
No.
follows
So the eSIM is so the way that eSIM work, I don't think they can open source it because it's 3GPP license or give you permission based on where you host it and how you control it. So it's not even me. So you have Gemalto, G&D, Idemia, that's the big players, and then we are also working with Keegan, which is used to be ARM. We're working with Works. So these are companies that get license from GPPP, 3GPP, to operate the eSIM platform.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any other questions?
Well, so in my mind, it's next steps or figuring out a project, and maybe a demo at MWC that kind of pulls together some of these pieces, maybe shows a roamable edge-to-edge deployment with SIMs being provided and getting it published as a blueprint and documented as part of Ether. And then doing publicity around that demo and whatnot. Something like that might be interesting, but I guess I'd look to this group as well to for ideas and help defining something.
I mean, what you described would be great if we could figure out how to staff it and make it work. I certainly hear an eagerness on Motogoto's part, so that's great. We would I mean, we can match it in expertise. I just don't know how easily we can match it in terms of engineering hours.
And maybe a bit of a non sequitur, but is there anybody here from Iowa State that might are there opportunities with what you're doing where you'd want connectivity that would extend beyond the footprint of the private edge? And I mean, I'm just thinking of huge agricultural deployments.
Yeah, actually, I'm about to, after this meeting, I can talk to Professor Hongwei. Yeah, I will share these materials with him to see whether there is some interesting thing we can do together. Yeah.
For educational purposes, I have a kit now that we're doing with partnership of Murata that can do, and as a technology guy, for me, it's very exciting. We can do private network on 900 megahertz. We can do public network because we support AT&T, T-Mobile, and others. And we do NTN satellite communication. So we have one kit, one SIM card. It's a Sony Altair modem that can do public, private, and satellite on the same chip.
Okay. Yeah, we are actually not only focused on education, we also like pretty interested in like how to bring the values for like rural area, for example, like agriculture and other parts. So yeah, anyway, yeah, I will talk to my professor and we may try to talk to you. Yeah.
And guys, anyone that want, I'm available. I can send you my calendar. Would love to talk more.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, just FYI, it's a ARA project hosted at Iowa State, and it's ag focused, lots of partners. So it's doing the deployment, education too, but it's not strictly that.
Understood.
All right, anything else?
Thank you very much for the opportunity, guys.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation and answering our questions. That was great. All right, not hearing anything else, let's adjourn for the day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.